really hard. People are telling you what to do. You get frustrated easily. You wish you knew the answer. You wish you knew the way. You wish you knew you had better direction. Well, you've landed on the Me and My Health Up podcast. And today we're covering empowerment and disempowerment. So, what I just described was the feeling of disempowerment, that you don't have autonomy. You don't feel like you're in control. And often we can feel this in areas of our life. And so today I'm sharing some insights as to how you can become more empowered, how you can break the shackles of disempowerment, take control of your life, and go in the direction that you intend and want to go in. So, yes, I'm your host, Anthony Harcher, a clinical nutritionist and lifestyle medicine specialist. The purpose of this podcast is to enhance and enlighten your well-being. And yes, I seek to empower your health up. So that's what this whole podcast is about. And if you're joining me today, I welcome you into this episode of empowerment versus disempowerment. So how did this episode arrive, and where did I come up this episode? I was very much reflecting on my story, and I want to share that story with you because as we are humans, we relate better through stories, and we understand better through sharing stories. So I'm going to share my story, my backstory, and it starts when I was a little kid, preschool and early primary school. I was quite sick. I was that kid that had the ear, nose, throat infections on a consistent basis. That gluey ear, that snot stuff coming out of the ear, runny nose, sore throat. And it was really frustrating. Every time I went into the water, I'd get an ear infection, and that would be painful. And those who have experienced ear infections will know what it's like. It is intense because during the day, you can take your mind away from it. There's other distractions, there's other stimulus. At night, there's reduced stimulus, and you really notice the pain coming from that middle ear infection. So I really noticed it at night, and it was frustrating and painful and affected my sleep as a little kid. I didn't have the energy that I would have liked to, and I really couldn't enjoy myself as much as I observed others around me enjoying myself or enjoying themselves in terms of playing in pools and doing what they wanted to do. I was too scared about getting another ear infection. So I wanted to stay out of the water, or I didn't want to. I felt that it would be better served if I stayed out of the water than going in the water and risking getting an ear infection. So that really frustrated me. At the same time, I was being taken to doctors, specialists, and in the end, it was concluded that I needed to have surgery. And so it was that I needed to have my tonsils removed and grommets inserted into my ears to widen the canal. So as a little kid, my perception was I was sick. Other kids weren't going in, or being, tossed around between doctors and specialists and going into hospital for operations. They were out just free spirits. And so I felt very disempowered with respect to health. I didn't realize this at the time. Obviously, looking back, I do realize it. My parents, in a sense, were disempowered in terms of options. They knew about the medical pathways, and that was the pathway they choose because they had that awareness of medicine, and so they were given medical options in terms of drugs and surgery, the two medical options. And so that was the pathway I went down. Obviously, there are other pathways dealing with ear, nose, throat, and it developed this fire within me, this void that I perceived I had, developed this underlying desire to change that. And as a result of getting out of hospital, I went about looking after myself and having a very strong focus at a very early age around health. I was reading books, Wayne Pearce's books on nutrition. I was following league. I played league at the time. I admired all the league players. And so Wayne Pearce was one of the league players that really stood out. He wrote a book on nutrition. I read his book. Arnold Schwarzenegger was the other guy around exercise. So I read his book around exercise. And I just remember digesting this content. It was really important to me. I was very much into my sports, reading a lot about different types of sports, buying those magazines, digesting those magazines. And so my fixation was really around health, and in particularly around nutrition and exercise. Sleep was something I did really well from a young age. I really just valued sleep. I didn't know why. It was just